All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is June 14th. Happy Wednesday to everyone out there. We got a full MLB slate to jump into today. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every game. We'll talk about the games. I'll give you my thoughts. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays will reside in the pinned comment, and I update that throughout the day. So keep an eye on that, guys. Yesterday, coming off of a very nice winning, positive night, going 4-1, and the one loss was kind of the one that I bet on just like emotionally yesterday too, right? Not analytically, not thought out. So we'll take that as our loss. But we cashed the Twins money line, we cashed the Giants money line, the Reds cashed for us, and then we had Austin Hayes over 0.5 strikeouts, which we posted on short form as a YouTube short. We also posted on Instagram as well as TikTok. If you guys want to see those, make sure you are following me there. All those are in the description. But yeah, and the Diamondbacks are only loss, but we'll take a 4-1 night for sure, guys. Let's go ahead and run it back today. Before we do that, guys, hit that subscribe button, like the video as well, and then you gotta go ahead and check out Daily Grind Fantasy. Got a couple DMs yesterday and comments yesterday on the video saying people signed up. Thank you guys so much, because obviously that directly supports me, but this is a really cool tool, guys. What it does is it goes into all of those player prop apps that you like: Prize Picks, Underdog, No House Advantage, Jock Market, Thrive, those ones. And it analyzes the plays that are available on those sites and then looks at where they are on sportsbooks in terms of odds, and kind of gives you the percent odds to hit. Because obviously if it's really juiced on a sportsbook, then it's going to be, you know, more likely to hit, just because sportsbooks think that that is the most likely outcome. So you can scroll here, you can see the average odds for these. For example, John Lester here over 0.5 hits. Sportsbooks have this at -140 on DraftKings, -135 MGM, and then -149 on Caesars, meaning it's a -140 average play. This is a 54.4% chance to hit. That's better than throwing in some pick down here like Billy McKinney here over 0.5, because it's not as juiced on sportsbook. So it's a really cool tool to help you build your prize pick slips and everything like that. You can also go in here, and if there is enough, so we're on the jock market right now, if you want to look in here and say, okay, build me a 3-pick insured, it's going to go through it. Anything that qualifies, it will give you. Okay, nothing qualifies there. Maybe a 4-pick, 5-pick. Boom, we got a bunch of plays that qualify for a 5-pick insured. You can build the slip right here. All you got to do is go over to that app and do it. But yeah, guys, definitely go check out DGF, Daily Grind Fantasy. The optimizer is absolutely great. They have a free trial there right now. Link in the description as well as the pinned comment. Let's go ahead and jump into that first game. Only if you subscribed. Only if you subscribe. Actually, shame on me. I forgot to talk about the ride of the day from yesterday. So this is 2 days ago. I'm behind one, but we'll get back on track today. We had Royalty Benz here coming in with Tyro Estrada, cannot speak, over 0.5 strikeouts, cashes in his first at bat. So let's go cash the ride of the day, guys. If you guys do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to do is use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Throw me an absolute banger of a pick, and I'll jump on board with one person. Win or loss, you guys get a shout out in the next video. But let's go ahead and jump into game number 1. We're looking at Minnesota taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. We cashed this yesterday. Minnesota takes the win. They were down early in that game, but they ultimately end up getting the 7-5 win here. On the mound for Minnesota today is going to be Bailey Ober, who's 3-3 with a 2.61 ERA. Colin Ray on the mound for the Brewers. He's 3-3 with a 4.47. Minnesota, I know we don't have the odds on the screen. We screenshotted that very early. Minnesota at -163 on the money line here at home over on FanDuel. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs. I like the over in this game to start with, and then I also slightly lean towards Minnesota. Yesterday showed me a lot. They kind of came back and won that game, and I don't really think Milwaukee is in the best place right now. They've lost 5 straight games. 3 of those were to Oakland. So unless they're gonna, you know, put themselves together, get up, knock, and, you know, shake the rust off or whatever, you know, surprisingly, I don't think that they're worth betting right now. So I do lean towards the Twins. I also like the over in this game as well. I could see this being very similar to yesterday, a 7-5 game. Maybe we're looking at like a 6-4 game, or a 6-5 type win for Minnesota. All right, St. Louis taking on the Giants. We get that win yesterday too, as the Giants cruised to an 11-3 win. Have you realized, you know, in the last few games or so, or last few weeks, I should say, the Giants, when they're getting some wins, they're absolutely just slaughtering some teams. I'm thinking back to 13-3 against Chicago, and then they had a big win in the series prior to against Colorado. So good on them when they do go out there and actually score a bunch of runs. They score a bunch of runs. Today might be a little different though. They got Cardinals have Jordan Montgomery on the mound, 3-7 with a 3.88 ERA, but he's coming off of, I would say 2.5 good starts in a row here. Most notably his last start against Cincinnati, 6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, and a .67 whip with 6 Ks. On the mound for the Giants is Anthony DeSclafani, 4-6 right now with a 3.89 ERA, and his last few starts haven't been all that. So I am going to lean towards the better pitcher, or the guy that's coming off of the better start in this spot. Yes, he has a worse record, but records can be deceiving sometimes. I'm more about what have you done for me lately in some cases, and this is going to be one of those cases. So I lean towards the Cardinals here on the money line. In terms of the total, 8.5. Yesterday, I think the Cardinals, didn't really bring their bats. I think they score a few more runs today. I don't think the Giants obviously score 11 runs again, but 8.5, I could totally see this being a 5-4 game and just barely covering. So I don't love the over, but I do lean towards the over. My main lean in this game will be on the Cardinals here on the money line though. All right, Tigers taking on the Braves. Don't have to spend too much time on this. Braves nuked in terms of favorites. They're minus 225 over on DraftKings. They've lost 2 straight games. Similar to what I said yesterday. Yes, that game got postponed, but I think this is obviously a decent spot for the Braves, and I do like the under 8.5 as well. I think Spencer Strider's able to go out there and shut down the Tigers, but this is nothing but a parlay piece. We tried to get them in a parlay yesterday with the Rays, but good thing that one ended up ultimately getting voided there because the Athletics just continue to roll. But nonetheless, guys, we'll both blow through this one. I do think it's Braves and the under, but nothing single betting wise, relates to, tickles my fancy here, gets me going because of the odds. All right, Baltimore taking on Toronto. I wish that I made this final play yesterday, because we had some haters in the comments saying, why would you be taking Baltimore over Toronto right now? And Baltimore's the hotter team. They've won 5 straight games. They sure as hell looked hot yesterday, winning 11-6 there. I think Toronto actually pinched a bunch. Like, they were like, things aren't working right now. We got to figure it out. And they started pinching a bunch of guys. Very good, very good insight by me to not pull the trigger, so I can't even take credit for it, guys. I wish I did, because I'd be taking my victory lap right now, because they were underdogs yesterday, and I got a bunch of comments being like, this is not a Baltimore game, but here we are. But nonetheless, guys, Baltimore, even odds at home now on the money line. Total is sitting at 9 runs as of right now. Call me crazy, and you probably will, but I am going to lean Baltimore again. It may be similar as yesterday. Do I have the cojones to pull the final, trigger play on this? I don't know about that, but Bradish on the mound for the Orioles, I don't hate him. 2-2 with a 4.25 ERA. Barrios on the mound for the Blue Jays, 6-4 with 3.61. I don't hate him either. He's coming off of, a couple good starts in a row, whereas Bradish is not, which makes it a little weary, but I still do think the value is in Baltimore at home as the hotter team right now for plus money or even odds. So whether or not it becomes a final play, I do still think that is the value of this game right now. And then in terms of a total 9 runs, I have no reason why this would go under, so I am going to lean towards the over. All right, Red Sox taking on the Rockies. Both of these games so far in the series, 4-3 close game. Then yesterday the Red Sox come back only to ultimately lose 7-6 here. So both games have been super close. Garrett Whitlock on the mound for the Sox, 3-2 with a 4.78 ERA. Gomber on the mound for the Rockies, 4-5 with a 7.57 ERA. I lean the Red Sox. I think that they take 1 here in this series at least, but the odds are tough. Minus 230 at home. They've been heavy favorites all series long, yet they keep getting losses. In game 1, minus 245, loss. Game 2, minus 220, a loss. Now they are staying in the game, but as this heavy of favorites, you should be winning this game. But I think today they turned it around. Look at Boston on the run line here for minus 120 at minus 1.5, or minus 1.5 at minus 120. And then in terms of a total 9.5, I actually lean towards the under. I think a lot of people are going to read too much into yesterday's game, so I'm going to lean towards the under here. I think the 9.5. I think this one sticks under double digits. All right, Mets, Yankees. Max Scherzer yesterday gets absolutely rocked. He pitched, 3 innings. They lose the game 7-6 here in this one. On the mound today for the Mets, Justin Verlander, 2-3 with a 4.85 ERA. Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees, 7-1 with a 2.84 4 ERA. He only has that one loss, which I believe was last week, right? Last start against the Red Sox in that low-scoring game. A good outing from him, too. It was like 6 innings pitched, 1 or 2 earned runs, something like that. Low whip, still got the loss. I think this is a good spot for the Yankees to do it again. Garrett Cole's on the mound. You can get them at -104 on FanDuel. I always will tell you that, you know, if you can get Garrett Cole on the mound and bet the Yankees near even odds, I do think that there's value there. And I think that this Mets team, you know, their best chance was with Max Scherzer on the mound yesterday, and they didn't pull through. So there's no reason why I would sit here and be like, well, no, today they bounce back. No, I don't think that they're that good. Obviously, the Yankees still dealing with a bunch of injuries, most notably Aaron Judge out of the lineup right now. The Mets have plenty of injuries as well, obviously. But nonetheless, I do still think, you know, that this Yankees team can get it done, and they have their best pitcher on the mound, and you're getting good odds. Like, think about it. Usually when you're pulling the trigger on a Garrett Cole Yankees night, they're like -140. I think, what were they when they played Boston, you know, in game 1 there? I think they're -165, -160, something like that. So when you can get good odds with Garrett Cole on the mound, I always will say that that's worth pulling the trigger on. In terms of the total 7.5 runs, this one is a little puzzling to me because I want to say it's going to go over and be a high-scoring game like last night. But Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, both these guys can get the job done. So I'm going to lean towards the under here just because I'm kind of fading myself. And it's always okay to fade yourself, guys. Merch in the bio, in the description. Go buy some merch. All right, guys, before we continue with the slate, I do want to talk to you guys about Outlier. I've been talking to you guys about Outlier forever now, and I really do think that it is one of the best sports betting research apps. We'll go ahead and jump in so you guys can see it here. What it does is it goes through and makes pretty much all these trends and odds and nice finds that you would normally, you know, spend hours on trying to find yourself. They put it all out in front of you in a very consumable way. You can see we're on the player prop screen right now. This goes through and finds trends within the last 5, last 10, last 20, head-to-head against their opponent this season and last season. And you can see the percentage in which they have hit it at. Now, there's a bunch of odds. If you wanted to kind of, you know, boil it down, you could say minimum odds -150, and now we're talking with some you know, more likely plays here. So if you're looking around and say, okay, Shohei Ohtani over 0.5 bases, he's done it in 5 straight games in 9 of his last 10, and it's for plus money right now. Let's go ahead and click in and we can analyze this. Oh yeah, he's been crushing it as of late, 52% on the season. But how does he bat against left-handed pitchers? Because that's what they're going up against. So Ohtani here batting .296 on the season against left-handed pitchers, .242. So maybe now it's something that we know to stick away from. But if we did want to pull the trigger, you could literally say add to my picks. Down on the bottom right here, you can click it, and then it's going to show you which sportsbooks it's available on. DraftKings being the best odds right now, tied with BetMGM. We can click continue, and literally with one click of the button, it's going to go and find that play on DraftKings and put it in, so you guys don't have to go digging for it or anything like that. It is a really, really cool tool. I've been talking to you guys about Outlier for a while now, and my thoughts have not changed. I've just begun to, you know, love it even more. So make sure to check out the link in the description or in the pinned comment, guys. You guys will not be disappointed with Outlier. We've gotten a great response with that as you know, as of late anyway. So make sure to check that out, guys. 7-day free trial with the link in the description as well as the pinned comment. I use this for both game plays. You can see where the percent of bets and the percent of money is. I also use it for player props and trends and everything like that. It's a really, really cool app. I know I keep telling you guys all these apps are cool, but I really use every single one of them. Like, I don't want to push something that I don't use, and I think the more the merrier that you guys can incorporate into your sports betting research for sure. So make sure to go check that out, guys. Again, link in the description as well as the pinned comment. Let's go ahead and get back to the games here. We're jumping back to game number 2 of the Atlanta Braves and Detroit Tigers here. This one I don't love as much here. Braves are trotting out AJ Smith-Shawver and Reese Olson for the Tigers, so I don't think this one has, I mean, if you like the Braves offense here, this is probably the better spot because you get -167 odds, but nonetheless, I pretty much stick to everything that I said about game 1. In fact, I'd rather throw game 1 into a parlay than take game 2 individually because if you guys don't know, I'm not a huge fan of game 2 of doubleheaders betting on them because I think they're very unpredictable. But yeah, I guess everything stands from game 1 other than the fact that yes, you're getting better money line odds if you do like the Braves here in game 2. All right, Cubs taking on the Pirates. I almost said Padres. We don't have anything here today, but the Cubs come back with a pretty damn good win yesterday, 11-3. And I always have a smile, even though I leaned towards the Pirates yesterday. I always have a smile for some reason now when the Cubs win games. I'm a Red Sox fan, okay? There's no reason why I should like the Cubs this much, but they made us so much money at the beginning of the year. I feel like I'm like tied to them in some way, so I'm like happy as a fan, and I'm like, wait a second, Ev, dummy, you're not a Cubs fan. Why are you happy? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't know why. That's the conversation that happens in my head, but we have no lines for this as of right now. I have seen the total of 10 jump out on a couple sports books. I'm going to lean towards the under for even odds right now, but we don't know who's pitching for the Pirates. Smiley's on the mound for the Cubs, but yeah, I'm going to lean towards the under in this game, but we have nothing else to go on here. I think Pittsburgh probably bounces back with a win, but nonetheless, guys, we don't have much going. Keep an eye on the pinned comment for any updates on this game. And by the way, go ahead and drop 15 in the comments if you are still watching, guys. I probably sound like a broken record. I'm like, I love doing this, but it is really cool when I catch you guys here in the later parts of the video and say, comment the minute, because it weeds out the, when people are commenting, and some people just come to the video and just post their picks. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, great. Like I'll say good luck to you, but I can tell if you are watching the video, if you're just coming to like broadcast your picks, and you probably post them on 100 different people's channels. But the people that are actually still here, whether you left your phone on and forgot about it or still watching, I do really appreciate it. So go ahead and drop 15 in the comments, guys. And if you are not liking these videos and subscribing, I get it, but if you could, it does help out the channel a lot. So I'm pleading to you, if you do, you find that in your heart, to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Make sure to go ahead and do that. But let's go ahead and get the train back on the tracks here. With the Rangers taking on the Angels. The Angels are making fools of me as of right now, because I keep saying, oh, the Rangers are going to do this. The Rangers are going to win this one, and then bounce back, and nope, they lose 9-6 game 1. Then they go ahead and lose 7-3 here in game 2. On the mound today for the Rangers is going to be Andrew Heaney, 4-4 with a 4.14 ERA. A lot of fours that I just said in a row. And the Angels have Reed Dietmers on the mound here, 1-5 with a 4.79 ERA. This has to be a Rangers bounce back spot, right? Like, it has to be a Rangers bounce back spot. That's the way they were leaning. In terms of the total 9.5, I don't think that, it's been working out in these high scoring games. So I actually do think that this is more of like I was going to say must win. It's not. You don't have a must win game in mid-June, but this is a game in which the Rangers, I think, are going to really be calculated and careful about how they play this. So I'm going to lean towards the under too. I think they're really going to try and shut down the Angels, and I don't think Texas is going to go out there and score 7 to 9 runs themselves. So I do lean towards the under as well as Texas. But guys, you guys know I'm one to admit when I'm wrong, right? I haven't been right about this series yet whatsoever, so I'm putting too much stock into the Texas Rangers maybe, but nonetheless I do lean them yet again. All right, Royals taking on the Reds here. Royals are no longer favorites in this series. That being said, the Reds are still minus 109 over on FanDuel, so I think it might be worth pulling the trigger on. I'm a Royals hater, and this Reds team actually has been playing well. They've won 7 of their last 9 games. A couple young guys stepping up for them. This probably is the game where, they already beat Kansas City twice. This is probably the game where they lose it, but nonetheless, I still do think it's the smart play in this game, win or loss, which kind of sucks to hear, but, I can't find myself confidently betting the Royals whatsoever. So I'm going to lean towards the Reds yet again here for minus 109 over on FanDuel. And then in terms of the total 9.5, you can actually get at 9 runs over on FanDuel right now. Either way, if you can find 9.5, I like that more, because I do lean slightly towards the under here. You've seen 2 games here at 5-4 and then 5-4. I don't necessarily think this one is as high scoring games again, but even if it is, you can get it at 9.5 on some sportsbooks and still cash the under. So I do like the under in this game. All right, Astros, Nationals. Astros getting a 6-1 win yesterday. They better have. They were minus 270 favorites, and they're big-time heavy favorites in this one again. But I'm going to lean again towards Astros on the money line here. On the mound for them today is Framber Valdez. We'll take that. 6-5 with a 2.36 ERA. Josiah Gray on the mound for the Nationals. He's got a 3 flat ERA over a 4-5 record. Coming off of a decent start, but the start before that really wasn't it. And Valdez coming off a start that, again, wasn't it. So I expect him to kind of bounce back to how he was pitching prior to that. He only let up 3 runs, but it was through 5 innings, had a high whip, 5 Ks. Wasn't really what you wanted to see out of him, but I think he bounces back today. So I'm going to lean towards the Astros here, minus 1.5 or minus 111 odds. I don't consider the money line unless it's some sort of a parlay, but I don't think that they're like an absolute lock either. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, I talked about the Rays as well as the Braves, and I considered them locks. We'll talk about the Rays in just a second, but nonetheless, I don't put the Rockets, I don't put the Astros on the exact same level as that, but nonetheless, I still do lean minus 1.5. Then we have a total of 7.5 runs here. Washington, You know, their offense has been very, very inconsistent. If you just strip out a couple 5 or just 1, 5, and 6 run game, other than that, in their last 8 games here, they're scoring 1 to 3 runs. Houston, also a very inconsistent offense. The game prior to last game when they scored 6, prior to, 2 games ago, they scored 0 runs. So I'm going to lean towards the under. I don't think this becomes a final play. I'm being transparent with you guys. I don't have the biggest of reads on the total in this game, but I still do like Houston to win by 2 runs. All right, Diamondbacks get game 1, so we're like, you know what, screw it. Let's take them in game 2, and the Philadelphia Phillies beat them 15-3. The Phillies kind of back on track after that loss, but I think that this is the better spot for the Diamondbacks today. I think this is going to be like a flip-flop type series. Kelly on the mound for the Diamondbacks. He's been pitching well, 8-3 with a 3.16. Ranger Suarez on the mound for the Phillies here. He has 2 good starts that he's coming off of. I think he's due to have like not a terrible start, but kind of like a mishap start. So I'm going to lean towards Diamondbacks. In terms of the total, 8.5. Both these teams have been trending over constantly. I think that they're due for an under type game, but not yet. So I think that this was another one that's going to go over, but maybe the next game we're looking at for either one of these ball clubs, we start to look at unders because they've been scoring a decent amount of runs, having high scoring games. So I do think that, eventually you got to spot that regression and capitalize on it before it happens, but not today. I think it is still an over spot for today. All right, Oakland taking on Tampa Bay, and we are 2 games into this series, right? And the Oakland A's are up 2-0 in this series. I don't understand it. I don't get it. They win 2-1 yesterday, and they're still heavily underdogs today. Luis Medina on the mound for them, 1-5 with a 7.53 ERA. Going up against Tyler Glasnow, 1-0 with a 2.87. But does that even matter? Like, think about it. Does that even matter? Yes, the Oakland A's are pitching, Luis Medina or anybody, and it doesn't matter because they're coming here and just somehow willing their way to victory. Like, I don't even understand it. I'm probably gonna fade this game because I don't even want to tell you that the Rays are a parlay pick. Like, this Oakland team. Psycho alert alarm for them. This isn't even a psycho alert alarm lean or pick. It's just I'm flabbergasted by what they're doing, and I kind of like it. Like, I love it, to be honest. Big underdog story guy, but yeah, this is eventually these wheels have to fall off. I don't want to be caught on the wrong side of that. We haven't started betting the Oakland A's, as they've gone on this run and getting some big money. Like, I've seen some of you guys in the comments say you have been doing, which literally kudos to you. But I haven't jumped on that bandwagon, right? So I think I'm too late to it now. That if I jump on it, I'll probably just jinx it and ruin it. So I'm just sticking away from it. In terms of the total 8.5 here, I'm gonna lean towards the over, but again, this is such a puzzling team right now that you don't know what's going to happen. Oakland, when we came into the series, I was like, yeah, they're scoring a bunch of runs. They're also getting those close run games, but they've had a bunch of runs scored as of late. That's not even how they're beating Tampa Bay. 4-3 and then 2-1. Like, low scoring games, and they're winning these, so it's kind of puzzling to me. Should be puzzling too. If you get what's going on here, man, kudos to you. You're a psycho. But let's go ahead and move on here, guys. I don't have much of a lean here. All I'm saying is I'm kind of hoping that Oakland continues to win. All right, we got the Mariners taking on the Marlins here. Mariners heavy favorites at home, -180 right now on DraftKings. Total is sitting as low as 7 runs. Yesterday's game results in a 9-3 win via Seattle here, and it was a low-scoring game for a lot of that game. So that under looked good. This line under looked good, but doesn't ultimately come through. But 2 good pitchers on the mound. Luis Castillo on the mound, 2.7 ERA, with a Yuri Perez on the mound for the Marlins, 2.17 ERA. Perez is barely letting up any runs this season, and Castillo had a bad start last game, still let up only 3 runs, but nonetheless, one of his worst starts of the year there, but he still had 10 strikeouts and a low whip. So very interesting to see these 2 pitchers going up against each other and where we come out on this total. I'm going to lean towards the under 7. Probably a crazy move. It's a very low number, and they had 12 runs scored yesterday, but nonetheless, I'm trusting the pitching in this spot, okay? And then in terms of a side here, I'm going to lean towards the Mariners, but those odds are way too much, so, I honestly don't hate the value of the Marlins side of things, but I do think the Mariners are just slightly playing better baseball. All right, Padres taking on the Guardians in game 2 here. Padres looking good yesterday, winning 6-3 in this one. They're only minus 150 favorites right now at home. I'm going to lean towards them again. This Cleveland team was playing really well, but, I do trust that, they kind of come back down to earth slightly. And this Padres team may be starting to catch a little bit of fire. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. They have Michael Wacha on the mound, who I'm not afraid to back in this spot. He's coming off a game against Seattle, 6 innings pitched, a .5 whip, 7 Ks with 0 earned runs. Hopefully he carries that momentum into this game. And then you're coming off of a game from Savale here, who's on the mound for the Guardians. He's having a good year, 2-1 with a 2.31 ERA. Do not get me wrong, but 2 of his last 3 starts have not looked all that great. He did get the win against Boston, but that's because his offense went out there and scored 10 runs. He still allowed 2 earned runs through 5 innings, which is like not terrible, but not the best, with only 3 strikeouts. So I'm trusting who I believe is going to be the better pitcher today, and some decent odds as well. And then in terms of the total, we're looking at a total of 8. Yesterday was 6-3. I think that's going to be a place in which people are like, oh my God, look at this, it's going to go under again, or it's going to go over again. I don't think so. Yesterday we had a total of 7.5, and we just got over at 9, right? I think this is going to be another under type spot. I think there's a slight overreaction moving that line from 7.5 to 8, so I'm going to lean towards the under. And we got the Dodgers taking on the White Sox in this one. Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers, and they are big time favorites. I think they take this win again. I think the Dodgers are going to start going on a little bit of a streak here. So if you want to throw them in a parlay, I do think that's a safe play. Total sitting at 8.5 runs. I don't know if Chicago's going to come to play with their bats, so I'm going to lean towards the under because I think Kershaw can easily shut down this team. On the mound for the White Sox is Mike Clevenger. He's 3-4 with a 4.19 ERA. I think the Dodgers are going to capitalize on that and score a bunch of runs here. So if the Dodgers go out there and score, obviously, 7 runs or so, I do think that the over ends up hitting because I think the White Sox can put together 2 runs, but I don't think it's a big scoring night for the White Sox. But then again, I have been wrong before. And if you guys are still watching now, before we close out the video, I do want to talk to you guys about Jock Market because they have some of the best value, best odds, best lines over in the business right now. I know we talk about Prize Picks, No House Advantage, Thrive. Jock Market is one of those apps that you can bet on player props and everything like that. And I do really like it, guys. If you're still watching, go check out Jock Market. 100% of your first deposit match. I saved it till the end of the video because I know we already did a couple research sites with the DGF optimizer and outlier, and I was like, I can't flood you guys with another ad read. By the way, these are all just, I choose to do them. They're not ad reads. Like, I don't have a schedule to do this. These are all just brands that I work with that obviously the better I perform with the brand, the more, profitable it is for me. Or I was going to say, like, the more successful it is for me. No, I make more money the more people that sign up for some of these brands. So yeah, that's why I want to push it to you guys, and I wouldn't do it if they weren't good apps and whatnot already. You know what I mean? So I don't mind being transparent with you guys. That's why we have ads during the show and stuff like that. No kidding, right? That's how the world works. But Jock Market, I would highly recommend if you are into those DFS or player prop apps and everything like that. So hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you did, and we will catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.